Hello people, this is Ryder here to review the Kamen Rider Geats, Kamen Rider Revice Movie Battle Royale, and Kamen Rider Geats DX Power Builder Buckle and Gigant Buckle set. Yeah, it's set. This is set. Anyways, this is the annual Christmas power-up item of the year power-up. As obviously this will be the item that would get released at the end of December, because they can't do belts anymore because no one bought the 1000 driver. But as you can see here, this is a pretty big box for sure, and such, to which we have the Geats Power Builder, and we actually have Seeker, and for the first time since Movie Tyson Full Throttle, we have the logo for the crossover movie on the package. That's really sad, but anyways, it's actually neat that Seeker is here. As you can see, Powered Builder Buckle and Gigant Buckle set. As you can see how big this is, the contents of this set, the QR code for the PDF file, and everything you can do with this buckle. It's a lot for sure. Again, here are the contents of the box. We will remove the core Gigant buckle and the weapon buckles themselves, as we actually have a core ID to take a look at. The Seeker core ID, which is pretty neat overall. His is definitely the smallest design out of the rest, but that's just obviously just due to how his helmet is. Really like the transparent yellow. It's actually pretty, I like the shade of yellow. Definitely, and such. This is just a nice bonus. Now we have the Gigant buckle holder, which is just a yellow piece of plastic with nice designs overall, like the arrow there. And then just back is just completely hollow, and yet it still has a track, 077. And then the individual weapon buckles. So here's the, if it wants to focus, the Gigant sword. You can tell, I don't have a raised buckle. I'll compare it with hammer. But, you know, these are definitely a lot smaller than typical raised buckles for sure, just due to how they work. As you can tell from here, this one's also 077. And then here's Gigant hammer, a nice blue, 077. So here is the armed hammer. As you can tell, they're not the same, which is good at least, I guess. But you can tell that basically these are just the size. Like, the fact they actually can make smaller, the raised buckles even smaller, is pretty impressive. And last but not least, the Gigant blaster, 077. Look at that sword link. And as you can tell from these, you can only press them, as that's kind of their only thing, and that's just due to how they work within the Gigant buckle holder. So you just simply clip them in these slots like so. And there you have it, the full Gigant buckle holder, or the Gigant holder, I think is its actual name. The box just summarizes it as the Gigant buckle, but these are the Gigant buckles, or the Gigant weapon buckles. This is just purely the holder, but I think this thing entirely is supposed to be the Gigant buckle, which is pretty interesting. You cannot put raised buckles in here just due to them not having the capability of doing so, as you can see from there. So, yeah. But, I mean, I think it's fine. You just clip them in like so, and, you know, it's pretty cool. Next up, or last but not least, we have the powered builder buckle itself, to which this one's definitely the biggest buckle we've have gotten up to this point. It definitely has a lot of bulk to it, even if it's kind of hollow. Like, it is still like it's a really thin buckle, but I mean, just the handle of this thing really makes it like chunky and such. And I really like the color scheme of it overall, because obviously it's supposed to be a construction based theme. It's supposed to be like a bulldozer. I never said that word in a while. It's supposed to be like a construction vehicle-esque motif with the cautionary warnings and such, the red handle, just the shade of yellow. And then the back, I think this is honestly one of the best backs we've gotten. I just like how flat it is. And like the fact that they went with this transparent track is pretty neat. This one is still 074, to no one's surprise. QR code for gumberizing. The button for the desire driver, and the switch for it in the desire driver. Obviously, pull tab and such. As when you push this thing back, the claws come in, and it's just so satisfying. This one's so satisfying just to like push back out, as you can see from that. Like, it's basically kind of the same lever system as, or it's basically kind of the reverse of Command Twin. Basically, I guess the best way to summarize it, it's kind of like the gamer driver lever, but actually like really satisfying. Though, like, you have to be careful, because this is a thing with some people's. The springs for some of these are actually so powerful that they actually cause these parts to fly out, so just be alarmed about that. You can simply peg them back in and such. And this is actually where you're going to insert your Gigant buckles / raise buckles, as you just simply clip them in like so, and then to remove them, just press the red button and pull it out. Because as you can tell from here, the Gigant buckles actually don't take up as much space and such. So I just think it's pretty interesting how they were actually able to incorporate a raised buckle reader into a buckle. And then this is the speaker hole and such. So pulling the pull tab, and just like with most of these buckles, you only get one singular sound when it's not in the driver. I'll do that again. You just get an announcement of its name. And you can insert buckles in, but we'll save that, as we'll use these within the desire driver. So first of all, we'll insert Seeker's core ID into the desire driver. Which is not a form, because Seeker does not have an entry form. And we'll just get this out of the way if we were to use this. As you can tell, it's really similar, but we can't activate anything because it's blocked. But we know that all four of these are the exact same track, so if we were to use one, and we do have room to press the button down here. Yep, we have the grates here, which is great. So there's not really any point of showing these individually. Anyways, to transform into Seeker, or yeah, this doesn't. I mean, it does have a name. It's Power Builder, but his is obviously the way Seeker transforms is that you just kind of like I actually don't recall, but this is the one of the first ones where you actually have to insert both of the buckles at the same time. Because you don't want to hear the set. So it'll say set warning, and then you just get this cautionary standby with all the LEDs going around. Then to complete the transformation, just push the lever back.
Would you like a custom selection?
And now we are transformed into Seeker, to which his is pretty interesting because he obviously doesn't have a ready fight. It's just an anonymous question. And then the LEDs do go on for a while just due to programming. And we do have a finisher. So this is the finisher standby, and then we just push it back once again. With the Gigant Strike. Now, at this point, we can play around with Seeker's gimmick, of which we take a Gigant buckle and then slot it into the powered builder buckle. And then just simply push the lever back. So now we are equipped with the Gigant hammer, to which then if we push it back once again, we are yet again greeted with the Gigant Strike. To remove the Gigant buckles, again, just press the red button on the side, and just, most of the time it'll fall out. Sometimes you're going to have to pull it out. Then next up, the Gigant Blaster.
Hybrid Gigant Blaster.
It will say hybrid. You don't need to fold it back in all the way, you can just simply push it back. So now we're equipped with the Gigant Blaster in addition to the Gigant Hammer, and then we do get a new finisher. And then last but not least, well, to Seeker's the most least because he barely used it, the Gigant Sword. So now we have all three Gigant weapons equipped because Seeker has like hands around him and such. They only did it for the RCF figure. And there is our last finisher. And basically, if you were to use a regular raise buckle, which I'm actually going to reset the power builder buckle, because basically after installing all three raise buckles or Gigant buckles, they're permanently stuck in Almighty. So again, just transform again. And then just insert the raise buckle like so.
Gigant arms.
We are giving Gigant arms.
Gigant arms.
Which is, you know, it's at least neat that it does read it in a way, but basically that's just because each of these Gigant buckles has a specific cutout. or cut out, so then only one button is pressed. As you can see, this hole and this hole are cut out. Yeah. While obviously the majority of the raised buckles never had those cutouts in the first place, so they just made it so they press all three, which I think is pretty smart. So again, this one presses this button right there, and then this one presses both of these buttons, but not the center one. And then one last thing that we are going to touch upon before we change modes is something that most people were not really well aware of. I only knew about this thanks to Formula through his sound rips. But if we were to transform into Seeker, but then install a Gigant buckle, if I can actually get it in, and then transform.
Would you like a custom selection?
In a way, we actually get a more complete transformation, as Seeker can transform with the Gigant weapons. It's not conventional, but it's cool. It's there, just to actually have that ability to do so. But moving on from that, we will no longer need this. We will switch out the cores, as Geats uses this differently. I had to refilm this because of the fact this thing kept not wanting to cooperate along with that thing. Anyways, so first of all, the thing with Geats is that he actually has this thing, first of all, in the raised buckle holder because he doesn't have this thing equipped, to which we'll use Blaster because that's what he debuted with. And then second of all, we will show this a boost. It basically functions the same as Fever. It's just that I'll just show this one because it happened. And then you want to install the Gigant buckle right away. And then hopefully if the Desire driver actually wants to cooperate, we'll insert both of them at the same time. Technically you're supposed to revolve on, but oh well. Oops. You don't want the boost sound. Jeez. So we get set creation instead of set warning, and I really like this upbeat standby. It's very traditional. And then obviously, just like Fever, we want to rev this once, and then transfer the scene.
Deploy powered system. Gigant blaster. Ready. Fight.
So now we are Geats Power Builder Boost? Power Builder Boost form? I don't know. I don't know why they bothered, but I mean, I guess just because they were able to. But, I mean, I really do like the sound here when you basically have a Gigant buckle installed already. Because at this point, this is like a traditional, like, this is what you would have expected and such. If we're actually, because, okay, so if we do this once, you already know it's going to be hyper boost, but because this one happened in the show, we'll do the boost time.
Boost time.
Though not with the blaster, but... So the thing with Geats, basically whenever any other Ryder that isn't Seeker uses this, the only finisher you will get out of this is Gigant Strike, which I think makes sense to like restrict it in that way. And then Hammer was the first buckle that Ace transformed, I assumed, with this thing in solely.
Deploy powered system. Gigant hammer. Ready. Fight.
So basically, the transformations are the same. It's just obviously it changes depending on which weapon you have. The finisher. I forgot to do that standby sound whenever I had it on boost. Obviously, you don't need to take out Power Builder. You can just swap the the Gigant buckles.
Gigant sword.
Because it will just start the process again.
Deploy powered system. Gigant sword. Ready. Fight.
So yeah. This one doesn't have as much to it. But I mean, I think the sounds definitely are more on par with what we're used to. Which leads into one last thing with this. So basically, as you can see, I have this pre-installed. Like so. But you remember with Seeker, you have to insert the buckle in with the empty and then insert a buckle. This one, however, you need to remove the buckle and then transform.
Deploy powered system. Ready. Fight.
And I'm honestly really happy I discovered this on my own because, again, like what I said, I learned about the Seeker, the selection stuff from Formula again through his sound rips. But then I was curious of just like, well, what if you just did the opposite of that? And I'm really glad there is like basically a default version of the creation transformation, because I thought I kind of sucked that like, because I really like this transformation jingle, but I thought it was just unfortunate that you're basically stuck with having a weapon tied to it. But I'm really glad that that's not the case. Obviously, you can still use raised buckles.
Gigant arms. Deploy powered system. Gigant arms. Ready. Fight.
So that's neat. But yeah, that's basically it with this within the Desire driver. Again, all of these do. It's kind of assumed what all these do. It's just that you can't activate anything unless you really get your finger in there.
Great tactical blast.
It just helps with the Magnum shooter. Unlike the Desire driver, this is not such a tight space, because this is honestly probably the tightest buckle to like go in here, because this thing honestly does not want to come out or takes like work. And then this one on the other hand is kind of expected. So then just push it back.
Powered builder. Buckle tactical blast.
Yeah. So obviously these don't really do anything in here. However, not however. Overall, I these raised buckles honestly just keep getting better and better. Honest, like I just like that they're able to do that. Like I feel like the raised buckles do take a good advantage of being their own thing, and this one definitely is the most robust uh buckle to be released. Especially it also helps just because it's compatible with other raised buckles in a way, and for what just for what it is, it's just really fun overall. Like there's just so much you can do with this thing on your own or on its own with the Desire driver. And it also like basically the secret core ID is like a nice bonus and it's like, oh cool, another rider. But the Gigant buckle, like it's so cool they found a way of having two modes or like being able to like have two modes within this, because even if it was just the traditional seeker mode of just being able to like add up weapons on and such, it would have been fine. But the fact that like basically like I guess the creation mode, like it's essentially a bonus, but at the same time though it's basically kind of their way of just actually allowing this thing to be in the show. And it's just I just like it overall. It's definitely worth for how much it's going for, which I think this initially went for $45. So it's basically as much as like I think it was definitely cheaper than the Command Twin Buckle and the Raising Sword set. I feel like this set's definitely more worth it, obviously, just because again, there's a reader, so there's actually more things to actually look forward to this one, and just this one's just, in my opinion, the most fun handling, just because this lever is fun. I just like how it feels, and I like the claws coming out, like basically trying to like, circling around the core ID. Like, I did not expect to like this one as much as I was, especially because I was kind of thrown off with like the construction motif and such. But honestly, I feel like they actually made this work a lot more better than Command Twin. And yeah, and the fact that you were able to basically incorporate a movie writer into this is pretty interesting. Like a winter movie writer, just because, it's been a while since we've had that. I still don't really agree with most people's proclamation of, wow, this is the first retail movie item in a while, because I guess they're ignorant about Neobata and yeah, I think Neobata. Other than that, this is a really great set overall. Am I running out of time? I don't think I am. No. Okay. I thought I was at my last minute. I am at my last minute, but I thought it was gonna end. But yeah, like I recommend I recommend you to like try to get this set. This is a really fun set overall. And honestly probably one of the best toys out of the line. And the fact that it was it was basically the prime quarter 2 item. Good. Yeah. Yuri's falling, so that'll have to do this review. This is Ryder, and I'll leave you people. Bye.